take for tangent for a second. Jack Welch, Lee Iacocca, what is it they have? What you would go around and do a self-analysis of companies, right. and you would look for things that you could identify with, right. and know that they had the potential to grow, right. and they had a culture, right. to grow, and they had, right. A plan to grow. What do great managers do? Well,
there's two types. You have Fred Smith, who comes up with an idea, right. called Federal Express.
Right.
Then he had to grow it, and that's really tricky. Sometimes, right. people can just do the idea part. He did all the parts. Right. And then there's Lee Iacocca, had to turn around a trouble with Chrysler, and even more challenging, a giant company like General Electric, to make something good better. I mean, right. that's really hard. So all these people basically were problem solvers, and they had to manage people. And one of the things that surprises people, they don't even understand the definition of management. It's getting things done through others. It's a lot easier to do something yourself. Yeah. If you have somebody else do it, and lots of people, obviously you're managing people, and sometimes you have to encourage them, sometimes you have to push them a little hard.
Right. Inspire,
people
motivate,
it's hard.
encourage.
But you have to understand what they want. You have to work with them. You have to explain yourself. You have to set goals. And you have to be a leader yourself, and you have to put a lot of effort into it. And you have to make mistakes. And there's a real amazing difference between being persistent and being stubborn. And I think great leaders can say, this is
persistence is good, stubborn's bad.
Persistence is terrific. Stubborn's terrible.
But do great managers listen?
Yes, they do. Absolutely. Categorically.
I've come to know and believe that listening is a principal, essential quality.
And sometimes managers get so high up, the people around them aren't giving them ideas. They're just shielding and filtering everything else. Yeah. They don't have a chance to listen.
And the best manager will make sure they do hear the best thing.
And they go out on their own, do their own research, independent of the people around them.
Yeah. Now, you still, back to you are still with the fund. I mean, you are the manager of the fund. You run the fund. She runs the foundation. You run the fund, right?
Right. I manage the money, but she finds all the great ideas.
Oh, does she really? So the division of labor is that you make the money and she gives it away?
That's right. She found Teach for America. Wendy Kopp was like 21 when she found Teach for America. Right. City Year early, national mentoring partnerships. I mean, she's the one that's finding. We get lots of proposals. She narrows it down. She does with other people site visits. I attend some of these meetings. I mean, we have board meetings, but I'm on the investment committee. Yeah.
Do you miss anything? Do you miss about the life that you had? Or do you simply say, I have a portion of it, I'm making investments for something that means a lot to me, and I know where the fruits of my labor are going. They're going to improve education and other projects I believe in.
Well, the nice thing, I'm actually running money for our foundation and for ourselves. So I'm actually doing the same process.
Family fund and foundation fund.
But all I have to say, my wife is my only boss.
Yeah.
When I was running Magellan, 1 out of every 100 Americans was in the fund.
Yeah.
These are people that $5,000 and $10,000 was a huge deal to. So when the market went down, you felt really badly. I mean, it's really the pressure on you when it's average people's money. Yeah. That's overwhelming. And you're nice enough to say nice things about Magellan, but in those 13 years, 10 times it declined over 10%. You know.
Yeah, but your point was that you were confident enough to say, when it's declining, to know when to give up and when not to give up most of the time.
Right. I mean, I'm saying when the market went down, I would always go down. So
sure. But you wouldn't go scared because you'd invest in a company.
That's right. I'd just say if the company's fine, it's fine. I mean, basically, Johnson & Johnson's higher than it was 40 years ago. Their earnings are higher. Xerox is lower than it was 40 years ago. The earnings are lower. So
of course.
It's what happens to the company.
But you also, I know lots of people who are doing stunningly well in the world of investments and finance. And they do it by a study of macroeconomics. Right. You never bought into that.
I always joke, I was bottom down. I mean, I was lucky. I mean, I owned a lot of, I own American Motor Inns, Hospitality Inns, United Inns.
Right.
And I said, who's your best competitor? And they said, La Quinta Motor Inns.
Oh, I remember this, yes.
And it was, I owned it before sunset. I mean, if somebody ever says something nice about a competitor, it's true. They always dump on their competitors.
Yeah. If you get them to say what they worry about, somebody's doing it maybe better than I am.
They have a better formula. We can't match the formula. Yeah. So I basically then visited, and I made it a big position in Magellan. It was a huge success.
Yeah. How long did you stay with it?
I think 7 or 8 years. So long.
Really? Yeah.
Great success.
How do you know when to get out?
Well, in baseball analogy, and I know you're a great baseball fan, you want to get in this first, second, third inning, not when they're drawing up the lineup.
Yes.
And Walmart, you could have bought Walmart.
Oh, wait. You don't want to do it when they're drawing up the lineup. You want to make it to the second or third inning. You want to at least have seen them at bat.
They've got it right. They've got the formula right. And now it's Toys R Us on 20 stores on the way to 500, or Home Depot on 40 stores on the way to 4,000. You could have bought Walmart 10 years after it went public. Then it went up 50-fold. It's already up 10-fold. That's 500-fold.
Yeah.
10 years after the Republic, they're only in 18% of the United States. They went to 19, 20. So you can say to yourself, there's a lot of room to go. But when you're in every state, when Limited got to every single mall in the United States,
Yeah.
with Express and Limited, you say to yourself, they're in the 8th or 9th inning. Where can they go?
Yeah.
So that's how you define it. With a cyclical, when it goes from crummy to semi-crummy, you're happy.
Yeah.
Then when it goes to good, you're happy. Then it goes to very good, you say, maybe I ought to go on to something else. So
Can you be greedy in your business?
Yeah, I think sometimes I call it the 3 C's. It's called complacency, concern, and capitulation.
Yeah.
So you're complacent is the I don't call it greedy. Just everything's going right. You sort of forget to check the facts. You say things are starting to slip in the company. Not the fundamentals. They're starting to mature. There's some competitors coming along. So being complacent is the worst one.
And that's the one that happens most often?
Yeah, well, unless you're working hard. If you're working hard, you're always checking with competitors, you're checking with customers, suppliers.
Right.
You're trying to do work to find out, is this company still early? Do they have years and years of growth ahead of them? Then you stay with it, no matter, even if the stock goes down.
There's also this idea, never invest in something you don't really know.
Yes.
That was part of it. That's why you went out on the road so much.
Right.
If I don't understand it, I don't want to.
Yeah. The key thing is when the stock goes from 10 to 6, if you understand what they do and you know they're financially solvent, you're fine. If you don't understand it, you can call the psychic hotline. But if you don't understand it, you're probably going to do the wrong thing. If you understand exactly what they're doing, it's gone from 10 to 6, you'll buy more. If you're confused to start with, you'll say, well, there must be something wrong there. And then you're out. And then a lot of times stocks are going to decline. Some of my best stocks have gone from 18 to 8, then to sometimes to 40, and some have gone from 18 to 0. But at least I wasn't adding to it on the way to 0. A lot have gone to 0.
So if it's going down, you're not adding to it? Sometimes you are.
If the fundamentals are getting better or the same.
Yeah.
But if they're deteriorating, I'm going to leave.
How much do you measure your success in your ability to communicate well? Your command of the language and the facility to express ideas in a simple and comprehensible way has always been the reason your book sold well, because there was good content there. And secondly, the way you were able to communicate and become a leader in your industry.
You asked a question earlier about ability to listen.
Right.
I think that's the skill. Because when you're talking to a company, if you ask all these questions, it's like a monologue. Then you say at the end, is it something I've forgotten? Or,
Me too. I say it all the time.
You want to have them say, by the way, a year ago when you were looking to see what things are going to be like, how has it come out?
Yeah.
What have been surprises for you? So I'm always listening to what people say. So it's more listening rather than asking, and also being nice. When you go to a company, they'll say, last year your capital spending was $125 million. What's it going to be this year? Last year R&D was $73 million. You just don't go say, how are you doing?
Yeah.
You want to be nice, courteous.
But precise?
Precise, right. But you want to show you did some homework.
Exactly.
And also, you don't want to use the rubber hose.
This is just like interviewing.
Don't be
I'm telling
mean.
you, this is like interviewing.
You don't want to be mean, too. If the rubber hose worked, I would have used it. You want to be, you want to be kind.
Yeah.
You write letters to say, I enjoyed meeting with you. It was a nice interview.
Yeah.
People, they could turn off. They have all the answers, but they don't have to be that nice to you. So being kind and courteous. I was a Boy Scout, and be prepared.
Yeah, be prepared, exactly. It is central to what I believe is that you ask people things like, did I miss something? What am I not hearing?
Yep. Correct.
What question have I missed here? What
Yep.
It's almost what I think is important. You got to engage the person in your own pursuit.
Right.
Make them work for you.
Yep. No, I remember that very well. One of the first company, I was a metals analyst.
Right.
Company AMAX.
Yeah.
The major product was molybdenum, and I was saying, what's the outlook for molybdenum? I couldn't even pronounce. When I took chemistry in high school, we didn't get that high in the chart.
Exactly right.
So you find out these people want to help you. If you go visit them, even on the phone.
Yeah.
And I remember calling one company up, and you get to know a person's personality. Some people are very optimistic, they're very upbeat. Some people are kind of very conservative, and his tone just was not as optimistic. I found out later, I almost sold my entire position. You get that feeling.
Yeah.
I called him a week later. I says, you were just down. He says, yeah, my brother was in a traffic accident about half an hour before you called, and I didn't know whether he was going to make it or not.
Yeah.
I almost sold my entire position because of an
But you had
accident.
another question to ask. Yeah.
I called back and I said, gee,
Now, I will sometimes call people and say, did I do something to make you upset or angry? Or not in terms of the interview, but is there something in terms of the relationship between, am I missing something here? Did I do something that pissed you off? And now sometimes they'll say, you didn't see, I was over there waiting to see you, and you walked right by.
And a lot of times you're kind of interrupting people. They answer a question, you just cut them off. You really have to be...
Listen.
You really have to say that. I've heard enough of that, but I'm not going to say interrupt, so it works well.